Okay, well, we'll get started, and then there'll probably be a few more people joining as we go. But thank you for joining me today. I'm Tom. I'm the Director of Sales for Cube, and we run and own and operate TechExit. And so we're really excited to be running our first TechExit Now, which is our first TechExit virtual conference. We've run a couple now of other conferences that we've run online, and we've learned a lot along the way about how to be successful as a sponsor on these platforms and what you can do. And what I'll do today is I'm going to run you through pretty much exactly how to generate leads, how to meet people, and how to make the most of the platforms. So I will go through each platform. We're using two different platforms for the event. One is called Swapcard. It's a virtual conferencing platform. That's where the sessions will happen. That's where you'll be able to see the attendee list. That's where you'll be able to see the sponsor profiles and everything. And then the other platform is called Remo, and that is purely for networking. So today I'll run through both of those. At the end, I'll do a Q&A if anyone has any questions. And yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing that everyone should have received by now, if you haven't received this, you definitely should have, so please email me afterwards. I'll pop an email in there, but everyone should have received their login email. It will look something like this. It has some key information in there, and it pretty much all you need to do here is just click the Let's Get Started button, and that will take you to Swapcard, which is where the conference platform is, as I mentioned. All sponsors now have access to this, and as of today, all of the attendees have access to this as well. So if you haven't built out your sponsor profile yet, which we'll run through, we really suggest getting that done today at the latest, because there'll be attendees in there, and the earlier you can have that in there, the more exposure you will get. So once you've clicked on this button here, you're going to get taken to the platform itself. I'm doing this in the Eastern edition. There are some sponsors on here that are in the Western edition of the event. And so, but it's exactly the same. It's just some slightly different branding. So when you land in here, the first thing that we want to do is edit our personal profile on the left-hand side here. So you click that little edit button there. And when you get in here, this is really, the more information you can put into your personal profile, the better. The whole platform is built around connections when it comes to networking. And so you want to put your best foot forward in order to connect with other people on the platform. So in here, I've completed my profile already, but I'll show you just in the different areas. So you jump in here, you can put your first name, obviously your company and who you work for. You can move through here. You can put a little bio in, and I've actually just gone and taken my bio from LinkedIn, which I think we recommend for everyone. So you can pop your bio in there. You put a bit of information about what you do, maybe your background, other companies you work for, other things you've done in the past. Over in here, you can put in your contact details, your social media links, so people can see that. People can click through and see your social media. And then you can put your personal information in as well. And it's worth saying on here that with the personal information, only people who you've connected with will be able to see that information. So in the same way as sort of LinkedIn, for example, only people who've connected with you will be able to see that. So don't worry about it just being public to everyone. It's only to people you've connected with. You can also connect yourself down here with the company you're a part of, and you can do that there. Another piece under here, it's this one here. I'm going to try and find the skills. Not popping up. Okay, well, so that's the personal profile there. The next piece that everyone should have done by now, and as I mentioned earlier, the sponsor profiles are now going to be available to all the attendees. So we really recommend updating your sponsor profile. So I've gone, SAS North is another one of our events that we run. So what I've done is I've actually gone in here and I've built out a sponsor profile for SAS North, and I'll run through each of the sections here to show you what you can sort of put in. We really recommend in the sponsor profile, maximize everything that you have in here. There's an option over here you can see for an ad, a background, everything. I'll run through it now quickly, but we really recommend putting everything in that you can. So the first thing, obviously your company name, you can upload a logo. You can have a video up here if you like. It can be an overview of what you do. It can be a video you already have, or you can just have a static image. So when you're editing it, it gives you the option to do that. Under the information, you put a bit of company information in here. You could put a promo in here. We found that companies who do sort of a little competition or have something to give away or a discount perhaps for a service, if you pop that in here, it's a great way to get engagement as well. You can put social media links. You can put your contact information here. And then you can put in any documents. So you might, for example, here I've got how SaaS North now works, and it's an explainer doc for your company. You could put in an overview of your services. You could have a white paper or an ebook on some topic that you cover, and you can have that there. You can then go to, you can connect team members to the event as well, and that comes up down here. When I go in here then, so once the sponsor profile has been completed on the left-hand side here, it will look something like this. And this is what an attendee would see. So they'll come in here, they'll be able to see everything. They can book a meeting with me here. They can see all the company information. If they'd like, they can send me a message on the right-hand side here, and I'll be able to see that. And a quick note here, anyone who is connected to this sponsor booth will be able to see that someone has messaged the booth, and the notification will come up here, and I'll cover the notifications shortly. I've also put on here a link for an ad, and this is a great way to generate some emails and generate some leads to this. So on the left-hand side, you can put in put in a link to a landing page. So if I click on this one, you will see I get taken to a landing page that we've created, and then people can put in their information and download that. So we'd recommend, if you have a chance to whip something up, to do that as well. And it's just another way to generate leads at the event. That is the sponsor profiles. As I mentioned, if you have any questions at the end, I can run through those. But yeah, that's how the sponsor profiles work. The next piece I'm going to dig into is the agenda. And before I get into this, so we really recommend consistently referring back to the agenda throughout the day. It'll, after the sessions end, there is a little gap between each session. So you can see here, there's sort of a 10-minute gap. It's all related to the time zone that you're in. So at the moment, I'm going to have a very early morning next week, but showing me in Vancouver, this is for the Eastern event, it all automatically updates to the time zone you're in. And you can see all of the sessions that are happening through here. You can go through, you can see the different types of sessions. So this is a breakout session, for example. This is a keynote session. And what I can do in here is I can create my own personal agenda. So these the little plus buttons, if I click these, I say I'd like to look at this one and this one here. Then I can go into my event up here, and I can see my own personal agenda. And then I can refer back to these, and I can see all of the sessions that I'd like to go to throughout the day. On the left-hand side, up here under my event, you can see meetings, and I'm also available to make myself unavailable for a meeting. So these meetings are the ones that we looked at just now in the sponsor profiles. So people will be able to click on through the sponsor profile and book a meeting with you. If you'd like to make yourself unavailable for a certain time, you can just click there and do that there. You'll also be able to see your contacts in here, which I'll jump into in a minute. But this is a good place. It's sort of got everything that you've done personally on the platform. So your sessions or your contacts, it all shows up under my event. But as I mentioned, it's worth just consistently referring back to the agenda and my event throughout the day, just to make sure that you know what's happening and when things are happening. And then the next piece, as I mentioned as well, if you bookmark these sessions, you'll get a notification just before those sessions start as well. The next piece I'm going to jump into is the attendees. And this is probably, for a lot of people on here, this is going to be a key piece. So the attendee list has everyone who is attending the event. It shows everyone in here. You can scroll through and you can connect with anyone that you like throughout the day, or throughout, in fact, you can connect with anyone you like as of, I believe, a week before the event starts. The key here is that you have to connect with someone before you can message them or before you can have a video call with them. So for example, if I clicked on Dave here, he's filled out his personal profile. So I can see his, he's got his bio here, his social media here, contact info or a link to a website there. I can see he's part of BDC. And if I would like to connect with Dave, on the right-hand side here, you'll see a little box and it's to send a connection request. This is really key that you put a compelling connection request in here. We found that the people who are most successful in networking on Swapcard are the ones who go in, they sort of have a look up at who they're talking to, maybe have a look at their business, and then send a really personalized message about why they'd like to connect, or perhaps even just asking a question is a good way to do it as well. Once someone has accepted your connection request, it will look something like this. I've connected with Dave, my colleague on here. So now I'm connected with Dave. I can see his personal contact information, as I mentioned. I can chat with Dave here. Another really cool piece is, let's say I have a conversation with Dave. I can actually go through and create a lead score, if you will. So I could say it was a 5 out of 5 conversation. The tags are, we talked about X, Y, Z. Here are some notes. Dave said he wants to have a call next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And then at the end, I can actually export this information and that contact. So I'll get his contact info here, his social media links. I'll be able to see on the right-hand side here, I'll be able to see all of this information that I've inputted as well. And I'm just going to move myself over there. Now, if I'm chatting with David and I'd like to move it to a video call on Swapcard, a one-on-one video call, I can click this little button. And then on the right-hand side here, you'll see this start video. I would give you an example, but as I'm using my camera at the moment, it won't allow me to use 2 cameras. But you just click that little button there and a video box will pop up for you. That is how the attendees work. So one top tip is to jump in here. I'd recommend 24 to 48 hours before the event starts. Get in here, work through this list and start sending some connection requests and connecting with people. And that'll give you a couple days before for them to log on, see your request. And then when the event is happening and everything's happening, you can set up a call with them or you can chat with them further. But I'd really recommend jumping in here 24 to 48 hours before, sending a personalized connection request to these attendees, and then going from there. One thing I'm just going to cover quickly as well that I didn't cover before is in the actual sessions themselves. So in this session, what's going to happen is, obviously there isn't a session happening right now, but there's going to be a video box that pops up in here, and that's where the session will be happening. On the right-hand side here, you will see another box, and it's going to show a chat box. And another really top tip, something that came from a conversation that I had with a sponsor of another one of our events, and I think is a great idea, is really engaging when the session is happening. Because if you're asking, on the right-hand side, you have the option to ask questions, or there's a chat box that everyone who's watching the session can see. If you're in there and you're engaging and you're showing people, or you're asking questions, or you're making points, or you're saying, oh, that was an interesting point, your name keeps popping up, and it's just a great way to get exposure again for yourself and for your company on this event. It's a bit of a hack that I thought another one of our sponsors used, and I thought it was a great idea. And people might click on it, or they'll see you on the networking later and say, oh, that's the person who was asking questions, or they made this point. I thought that was interesting. And it's just another way to get your name out there and get more exposure. Under the speakers tab up here, you can go through, you can see everyone who's speaking at the event. And in the same way as the attendees tab, you can go through and connect with them. And again, with speakers, you have to connect with them before you can send messages or have video calls. The next piece, we covered it sort of at the start, but it's the sponsor profiles. I'll say it again because I think it's really important. Make sure that these are filled out. We really suggest by the end of today, attendees are going to be in here now, and the earlier you can get this filled out, the more exposure you get. So go through, fill out as well as possible. If you want to create a contest or if you want to do a giveaway, you can use that ad, as I mentioned on the left here, to drive traffic to a landing page that you like, and then you can capture emails that way as well. And then you have the help desk on the right-hand side here, which you can refer to at any point during the event, and we'll have someone on that throughout the whole event, and you can ask any questions that you might have. The next piece I'm going to jump to is the notifications up here, and this is something that's really, really important. So whenever someone requests to connect with you, whenever someone requests a meeting with you, whenever someone writes a message in your sponsor profile, you will get a notification. So we really suggest checking these notifications constantly. I'd say once every half an hour, if you can, throughout the day. You only get a message on the, you only get an email notification every 4 hours on the notifications here. So just keep checking back to them and keep looking at them there, and make sure that that you're up to date and you're not missing anything. Because the last thing we want is someone to try and book a meeting with you or connect with you and it gets missed. Up in here, you can go through, you can see all of your contacts. I'm only connected with Dave in here at the moment, but I'll be going through and connecting with some people. You can order them by first name, however you want. And then, as I mentioned before, you can actually download all of your contacts at the end, and you can pull all that data and upload it into your own CRM or wherever you like that. Now, the next piece is actually the second platform that I mentioned. I'm just going to quickly check. There's a few notes here just to see. That's a good point actually from Dave. So the attendee button is not visible at the moment. So if you log in there and if you don't see the attendee button, you won't, don't be shocked. Everyone's going to get access to that on Thursday for the East event. And then for the West event, I believe it's next week, but I will confirm that as well. The following week, yeah. Okay, so the next piece I'm going to jump to it's called Remo. So under here, you'll see a virtual meet and greet. And this is where the group networking is going to happen. And this is a really cool platform I'll show you. What you'll do at the time. So for us, this is Eastern time, but so 12:40 until 1:30. There's going to be 11:40 until 1:30, 12:30. There's going to be networking. That's Eastern time. Sorry, I'm getting confused here. And then all you need to do is click that button there, and it's going to take you to another page called Remo, which looks like this. Remo is a group networking platform. It's really cool. You can just jump around the tables and get into different conversations. Each of the seats here corresponds to how many people are allowed at a table. So the one I'm in now is a 6-person table. Then we have 4-person tables here. And then if you'd like to just have a private conversation over here, you can do that just by double clicking. So if I want to move there, I just double click and it will take me to that table. On the day of the event or during the networking, these little logos will pop up like this, and they'll be all sitting around the tables. As I mentioned, you can just double click and jump in. And what I would recommend is referring back to that attendee list I was speaking about on Swapcard, which is the other platform, is making that list of names that you want to get in touch with or you want to contact, and then you can just scroll over them and see what their name is, and you say, okay, I wanted to talk to that person, and you can just jump into the table. And in some ways, personally, I find it sometimes even easier than an in-person networking because of that feature. You can just scroll over. In this instance, hey, I wanted to talk to Zane. He's at this table. I just double click on the table and I jump in. Whereas at a physical conference, you have to run around. He's gone to the bathroom or he's left or talking to someone else. But here you can just jump into the tables. On the left-hand side, you'll see the floors. So you can change floor as well. You can just click on that. It will take you to the same floor. It looks pretty similar, but it'll take you to the same different floors. And again, on those different floors, you can network and everything too. So talking about quickly some of the technical issues that people face when they're jumping onto this platform. The first thing is you need to turn your cam and your mic on, and that happens down here. You just click those, it will come on. So in this instance, it's actually perfect that this person is sitting in here at the moment. You can see there's a little exclamation mark and it says this guest may be experiencing mic and or cam issues. And when this happens, The first thing to do is to make sure that you're not using a camera or a mic on another application. So if, for example, if I try to turn it on right now, I'm using my cam and mic for Zoom, so it won't show. But so I need to quit out of Zoom. I need to quit out of any other application that might be using my camera and my mic, and then refresh the page. That's the first thing to do. The second thing, if you're still having issues, is up here. You can make sure that you're connected to the right camera on the left-hand side up here, and then you can. Thirdly, you can actually go and test your mic and camera. You click that little button, and it will take you to a website where you can test that, and you can actually test that before this starts. I will share that link but afterwards, after this session, and you'll be able to go on there and make sure that your cam and mic is working. And that is, yeah, refreshing the page as well. That often helps, but the main issue that I've sort of seen is if there's another application using the cam and mic, that sort of seems to cause issues there. The last piece I'm going to jump to, it's called, it is called the event lobby. And this event lobby, this is where you can go if you get lost at any point throughout the event. Again, this will be shared with you. But if you are not sure where things are happening, if you wanted to go to the Remo, which is the one we're just in, to the group networking, or to the agenda, or you needed to see the attendee list, you can come to this page. I'll share it again. There's one for the West and one for the East event. You can just click, go here, and then you just click the button and it will take you to exactly where you need to go. So it's a really great way, a great piece to refer back to if you ever get lost. And jumping back to Swapcard now, a few other bits and pieces. So all of the sessions are going to be available to watch for at least 30 days after the event finishes. So if you aren't able to make a session, you can just jump back in and you'll be able to see that session. It'll be recorded and placed into the same page. You can watch that there. But the networking, obviously, it's live and it's at the time. That's the piece we'd really recommend everyone getting involved with as well as possible. Make sure you're there. Make sure you maximize that piece. And that is on Remo. And then again, you can just refer back to this list for finding people that you want to connect with and doing that there. And I think that sort of covers everything. So what I'll do under the Q&A, everyone should have a Q&A box on their screen. If people have questions, you can pop those in now, and I will answer any questions that come up. So you can put it in the chat, or you can put it in the Q&A. So I've got a question. Oh. Again, if you get lost, the best place to go is this lobby. If you're not sure what's happening or what's going on at a certain time, you can jump into this lobby. Then you can check out the agenda in here, and you can scroll through, and you can just see what's happening at each time. Again, you can put the little plus button, and you'll be able to see that in your personal agenda in here, and then you can refer back to this, and you will get a notification when these sessions are about to start. Were there any other questions? Okay, a couple. Just got a question here. From Nicole about as an admin that's not attending the conference, can I have access to the networking app? So Nicole, it's the networking app is for well, it's all tied to individual accounts, but all I'll do is I'll send you a quick note afterwards, and we can chat about that and figure out how we can make it work if it's just for accessing the notifications. Diane, who should we direct questions to during or just before the event? I assume you're talking about any questions with getting set up or getting the profile set up. In that case, it would be me, and I will put my email address in the chat quickly to here. It's tom@cubebusinessmedia.com. Just pop that in the chat so hopefully everyone can see that. So you can email me there. I'll also be sending a follow-up email after this, just with the top tips that we've covered. And so I'm recording this webinar now, so if anyone from your team wasn't able to make it, you can share this with them as well. Then actually, that's a great point from Dave. So we're having this webinar now. This is for all sponsors for the West and the East event. But what I'm happy to do for everyone on here, if you and your team would like to have a one-on-one call, and in those one-on-one calls, I can go through your specific profile and your package and make sure that everything's optimized. I will be sending out in that email as well. You can book a time and I'll do a one-on-one call with you and your team and just make sure that everything's up to speed and you're comfortable with the platform. So again, that'll come in the email after, and there'll be a link to book a meeting if you'd like. Okay, I think that covers everything. I'm just going to look in over here and see if there are any other bits and pieces we could cover. One thing actually I will mention is it's worth closing all other programs that are running on your computer at the time. So if you have another internet window open, browser open, or your Outlook's open, or any programs that take a lot of computer space, it's worth closing those just to make sure everything runs smoothly. And then block this out in your calendar as well. We found again that the people who have the most success on these platforms are the ones who treat it as they would a physical event. Block out your calendar. Don't take other meetings when the event is happening. And yeah, that just make sure you prioritize this throughout the day. And I think that covers everything. Again, it's the platform is open today for attendees, so they'll be able to see your personal profiles and your business profiles. So make sure you jump in there and complete everything. Try and do it by the end of today. If you have any questions or if you have anything that you're not sure about, feel free to email me. Again, it's tom@cubebusinessmedia.com. My email is there in the chat, and I will be sending a follow-up email afterwards. And I'm happy to answer any questions or jump on a one-on-one call. Thank you very much. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week.